The Orion capsule's digital panel blinks silently, marking exactly 400,170 kilometers. Why did Artemis II need to cross the exact distance boundary set by Apollo 13 half a century ago? In the next few minutes, you'll see how 4 astronauts broke the human record for survival in the cosmic abyss. In April of 2026, the history of space exploration suffered a seismic fracture. For the first time in 53 years, humans left low Earth orbit. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen didn't just go to the moon, they went beyond it. The Orion capsule tore through the vacuum at thousands of kilometers per hour, pulling away from our planet until Earth became nothing more than a fragile sphere floating in the darkness. The silence inside the pressurized cabin contrasted sharply with the violence of orbital mechanics outside. They were on the so-called free return trajectory, a ballistic route where gravity dictated the rules and the engines fell silent. No margin for error, no possibility of turning back. With each passing second, Orion plunged deeper into the dark, approaching a phantom number that had haunted NASA since 1970. 248,655 miles, Apollo 13's apogee. But reaching that mark wasn't the end of the mystery. It was only the beginning of a far more dangerous test. Christina Koch's reflective helmet visor mirror is an Earth reduced to the size of a blue coin. But what no one realized was the true nature of this record. To understand the weight of what happened in 2026, we need to look to the past. Apollo 13's distance record was never planned. It was the result of a catastrophic failure. An oxygen tank explosion forced Jim Lovell's crew to use the moon's gravity as an emergency slingshot, flinging them farther from Earth than any human had ever been, just to make it back alive. A record born of desperation. But Artemis II was not in an emergency. The mission was designed, calculated, and executed to deliberately cross that invisible line. And here's where the strange part begins. Why push a brand new spacecraft on its first crewed flight to the absolute limit of our planet's gravitational influence? Orion surpassed 400,170 kilometers, then 400,180, 400,200. Telemetry climbed into the abyss. The crew was deliberately navigating deep waters where no rescue would be possible. What exactly did NASA need to test in that extreme darkness, where the sun's light seemed to lose its power? And that's when the data started to make no sense. The telemetry graph at Houston Control Center displayed a continuous red line of cosmic radiation. The instruments detected the solar wind's impact against the hull, but they detected something more. More than 400,000 kilometers away, Earth's magnetic protection simply doesn't exist. The Van Allen belts which shield our planet had been left behind days ago. Orion was exposed to the pure fury of deep space. The mini reveal of April's data showed that the capsule's shielding withstood the particle bombardment exceptionally well. The heat shield and special alloy walls worked. The crew was safe from radiation. But confirming physical safety opened up a far more complex logistical problem. At that distance, the light itself takes time to travel. A radio signal sent by Victor Glover took over a second and a half to reach Houston. The mission control's reply took the same amount of time to return. 3 seconds of absolute silence between each sentence. It seems little on Earth, but in deep space, a 3-second delay in an emergency is an eternity. The Artemis II crew was experiencing, for the first time in modern era, temporal isolation. They were alone. If an alarm sounded, the life or death decision would have to be made in the cabin long before engineers on Earth could even see the data on their screens. The distance record wasn't just a number on a panel, it was a test of autonomy. Orion was proving that humans can survive disconnected from the umbilical cord of mission control. But the machine's stress test would soon become a stress test of the mind. Reed Wiseman's gloved hand releases a pen, which floats absolutely motionless in the center of the cabin. The rhythm of the flight changes. Acceleration ceases. The capsule enters a slow, hypnotic rotation, the so-called barbecue roll, evenly distributing the sun's extreme heat and the absolute cold of the void across its metallic hull. Inside the spacecraft, the constant hum of life support fans is the only sound separating the 4 astronauts from the infinite vacuum. There is no day or night, only darkness dotted by unblinking stars. What happens to the human mind when one's home planet becomes just a tiny target in the dark? The Artemis II crew wasn't just breaking a mileage record, they were rewriting space psychology. On Apollo 13, the focus was minute-to-minute survival. On Artemis II, the focus was observing the abyss. The spacecraft reached the farthest point of its orbit, apogee, the exact moment when Earth's gravity loses its maximum pull and the craft hovers for a cosmic fraction of a second at the top of the gravitational hill. They looked out the window. Earth and the Moon appeared as distant spheres, almost the same size from that alien perspective. The vastness around them wasn't just empty, it was heavy, overwhelming. Remember the free return trajectory from the beginning? It finally makes sense, and the answer creates an even bigger problem. The camera lens attached to Orion's hatch captures the Moon's gray edge swallowing the star field. What came next wasn't in any simplified public briefing. Artemis II's true record wasn't the distance itself. The distance was the consequence of a terrifyingly precise orbital maneuver. To ensure the crew returned safely without relying on the main engine, the spacecraft needed to dive deep into the Moon's gravitational well. They used the lunar mass to curve their trajectory. As they passed the Moon's far side, gravity whipped them back to Earth. For this gravitational slingshot to work with a spacecraft as heavy as Orion, physics demanded that the orbital ellipse stretch far beyond the Moon. They needed to travel 248,000 miles away for the mathematics of return to work perfectly. Apollo 13's record was broken not by arrogance, but by the purest, coldest celestial mechanics. NASA transformed the distance that nearly killed the 1970 crew into the exact maneuver that ensured the lives of the 2026 crew. They tamed the emergency route. They transformed improvisation into a standard highway for deep space. But if physics guaranteed the ballistic return, what did they see while skirting the Moon's absolute shadow, far from any communication? 3 orange and white parachutes violently unfurl over the cold waters of the Pacific Ocean. Artemis II didn't just surpass Apollo 13's 400,000 kilometers. It proved that humanity can inhabit deep space by design, not by accident. Wiseman, Glover, Koch and Hansen endured the isolation, the radiation, and the communication delay, transforming the most daunting frontier of lunar exploration into mapped territory. Yesterday's absolute limit of survival became today's starting point. The architecture of the cosmic abyss now bears the weight of human presence. In our next episode, we'll investigate the moon's far side, seen by human eyes, first time in history. What the crew encountered in the absolute darkness where no radio signal can reach. Salt water covers the scorched hatch as the Pacific waves extinguish the heat of a journey that rewrote the limits of our reach.